Hi there. I'm on my way, I'm making it. I've got to make it show, yeah. So much larger than life. I'm gonna watch it growing.
Hey, big time. That's what it is, folks. That's why we're here today. Thank you for joining me. How you doing, folks? Happy Thanksgiving Eve to everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. This is my big extravaganza here. I got all kinds of stuff planned for hitting over 300 subscribers. You guys helped make that possible. I can't thank you enough. And this is my little way of trying to show a little appreciation. I have some fun here with you guys, do some fun things, and check out some cool stuff. So I got some guests on tap. I got the whole 9 yards for you guys. You guys have no idea how hard I've worked on this all week for you guys. So it's gonna be a good time. But before we do, let's take a quick look here in the chat, see who we got. We got Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. Yes, hello, my friend. Glad you could make it. And of course, my wife is here because she's a supportive wife. Very very good thing to have. And so there we go. And now we're going to bring in my guests. So who we got here? Well, on tap, first of all, we got the man who actually has helped me more than anyone else as far as like understanding some of this stuff doing YouTube, and who himself is doing a lot of great stuff on his own. My good friend Pop. So let's bring him on. Let's bring him on into the show here. Hey, my friend, how you going?
Oh, doing great, man. So blessed. Congratulations, James. So proud of you, man. Thanks to you, man. It's just so much fun being able to do our stuff and hang out, and appreciate the invite hanging there. Hello, everybody in chat. And yeah, man, congratulations.
Hey, thanks a lot. And like I said, you helped make all this possible for me. This was the guy who gave me like one of my first breaks in being on his show and bringing attention to my channel. So I can't thank you enough. Like I said, this is partly due to you as well, and I learned so much from you. So I really appreciate you taking time out to be here. But that's not all. Of course, it can't be a big show if you ain't got more guests than just one. So of course, since it's 300 people, we got to have at least 3 people here, right? So who's the third man here? Well, it's the crazy man himself of comic art, Mr. Dan Lawless, and there he is, folks.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Doing
I thought
good,
you were
Dan.
introducing me when you said this guy. He knows everything. Taught me everything about YouTube. I'm like, I don't know shit. What are you talking about?
No, well, maybe the boomerang part I learned from you, Dan. I learned to boomer up on YouTube thanks to you. Yes, I did learn that.
Like, okay, I'm like, well, maybe. I'm thinking for a second. Did I actually teach him something then? I don't remember teaching him anything.
Well, you've taught me about costuming when watching you on the Graybeard with Aaron Lepresti and the crew. So you've taught me about how to do costuming.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because James, as you know very well. Oh, by the way, Pops, how are you? I haven't
Very blessed,
talked to you
my friend.
forever.
Great to see you, man.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, James will tell you that like going back a number of years, I wanted to go on these shows, but I said, James, I can't do it. I can't. I would be too nervous. I can't do public speaking and all that kind of stuff. And then I went on just with my avatar once, and I was nervous and all that kind of stuff. But then they needed me to do launch Truth, Justice, American Way. They just needed bodies, So I went in there, and it was a 5-hour live stream. Well, at the end of the 5 hours, I felt comfortable finally. You know what I'm saying? I kind of got over that hump, and now it's easy, for me now. I can be myself, which is what I really need to do, So,
Dan, I had my son on with me here recently, and he's come to a few more. He's done like the live show and stuff like that. And it's like one thing he said was how everybody was so cool just hanging out. And I'm like, that is a lot of what you make it. If you put that out there, that's what you'll get back. If you're going to do a drama channel, you're going to get drama. If you're going to insult people and berate people and do whatever, you're going to get that back. But if you just kind of have a chill approach and just do your thing, that's what you'll kind of gravitate towards. So
yeah, I think be yourself is what is the
authentic.
key, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, being myself, of course, this is going to be like a very esoteric type of thing because that's just my style. But I got some stuff planned here, guys. First thing we're going to do is let me boot up the next thing we're going to do here. And
wait, let's talk
something
about this 300 people. Now, how long did it take you to get there?
longer than I thought. This whole chestnut with YouTube is a harder nut to crack than I ever thought and imagined it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I was like, what was it around this time last year? I was like 187. So I mean, to have broken 300 in less than a year, I've almost doubled my subscriber count. But man, it is a lot of work.
It is. It's a job.
Well, it reminds me like working at the comic shop. What do people think when you say, "Oh, I work at a comic shop," or "I'm a manager at a comic"? What do you think? You think, "Oh, you're sitting around reading comics all day." And it's like, yeah, you wish that's what it was. That's what you wish it was, but it's not that. It's not that easy. So you see this, they go YouTube. Oh, so you're just sitting there making videos all day. It's like, yeah, editing them and putting up content and trying to come up with great ideas and trying to get guests on and trying to figure out what to talk about and putting it all together and trying to put in production values and all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of work. It's not just sitting around just in front of a camera going, "Hey, look at me."
Well, I also think that you have to learn the game and the art of doing all of this because it's just different, right? So, I think that you're going to find that the speed is just faster, right? So the time it took you to go from 0 to the 186 to get to 200 to now, that speed will continue to increase. Like, so between now 300 to 500 will be even faster. And I don't exactly totally understand why that is. I think maybe that's some of the algorithm stuff. I also think that you have to carve out your lane in the comic book space because there's not a million. I mean, I don't think there's like, hundreds of millions of us. We're comic book nerds for a reason. Like we are who we are. So you have to find your voice and find what people have to get used to what you're going to talk about or not talk about. So I think that's part of what this experience is. And I think it's so cool that you've gotten to this point, man. It's only, as Ryan Roger Athay said on his show, he said, onwards and upwards, man, onwards and upwards.
Well, you're not the only one thinking that, Pops. We got Leg Kick here saying anything. Let's slow down, Leg Kick. Getting to 300 was already a lot of slog. Let's not worry about 1,000 just yet. I mean, I want to get there, I do, but let's just take it a step at a time. Let's worry about 400 before we get to 1,000.
Yeah, well, you got to do those clickbait titles. It can be like, "They hate you. Disney is finished." That's what I'm serious. Actually, that you kind of got to put a clickbait title in your YouTube shows. I think it was Quartering it sort of had the formula. It is 10-minute videos twice a day with a provocative title, and that sort of thing. And that's how you grow those channels. And it's kind of like it's kind of a little bit cheesy, but whatever way you got to, if you really want to make a YouTube channel, I think you have to kind of play the rules, follow those rules a little bit, to get there.
Yeah, but I think you need a certain mindset to be like that. It's like me, I don't know if I can hit daily content. Like the last few weeks here, I've been hitting like 5 videos in a week, and it's like that's a lot for me. It's like almost daily. It's a lot of work trying to come up with ideas and stuff to do. We got Leg Kick asking, do I have any plans for more shows? I'm like, I've already got some of these. I got Why It's Great. I've got What's in the Box. I've got the Sequential Art Showcase. I've got Creative Conversations. I've got so many things I'm doing already. It's like I can't. How many more can I add without burning myself out?
Right. It is. You can. And some of these guys do get burnt out. Some of these big YouTubers.
I've gotten burned out before. Sure. I mean, you have to continue to find that balance, right? I mean, you have a family and you have to balance that up against how much time you're going to be committed to this hobby that's clearly not paying our mortgage. And it's like, how do you find that balance? And like you said, you want to do content that you enjoy doing. And if you're just chasing the clickbait, that'll burn you out too, because you're going to be chasing some that don't go anywhere, right? You're going to chase some things that don't get all rolling. I find that one thing for me is I find something that I'll like to do and then play with it a little bit to find a way to put something in it that will not necessarily be clickbaity, but will be something that would be attention getting or something that will work. So for instance, YouTube is the second biggest search engine, right? So you can put in things of like, I just did a video on Heat. Is this the best heist movie of all time? Right. So people will use best heist movies. Is this the best? It's a question. So it's kind of engaging, things of that nature. And you can do that with comic books. You can do that with anything. And I think that's a way to play that kind of clickbait like thing. Because like, Dan, you're 100% spot on. You have to be able to play the game and understand what the rules are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the rule here is it's time to get the show on the road because we're already 10 minutes in. And I know people
got running the show.
People got stuff. I know you guys got stuff to do. You're getting ready for tomorrow because again it's Thanksgiving, so we got tons of stuff. Why don't we get things rolling here? So let's bring up the first bit here now. Something that's been a lot in the news lately, a lot of people have been talking about stuff, is video games because of stuff with like these horrible woke games that are failing like crazy. So I thought instead of pointing out all these horrible games everybody hates, why don't I point out some games that I loved growing up in the arcades? And we can have some fun with that because who wouldn't want to see some fun games rather than games that are just going to tick you off. So I thought we get with
those games could tick you off too, though.
Yeah, but for a different reason. Getting ticked off because you're not winning is different than getting ticked off because it's insulting you. It's a completely different kind of ticked off.
Okay, yeah.
But here we go. These are just a few of my favorites. My favorite arcade games, top 5 favorite arcade games of all time. And this is the first one, Spy Hunter, which is a great game. It's a driving shoot 'em up kind of game. It's very like. It was like in the name of James Bond. They were trying to
remember
do
this one.
And if you know the game, one of the interesting things about it is they took the music that you play that's playing while you're playing the game is actually a theme song to a TV series called Peter Gunn, who was like a private eye kind of guy that got involved with espionage stories and stuff. And so because they wanted to get James Bond music on the game, but I think there was a rights issue or something. They couldn't quite get that. So instead they went with Peter Gunn's music, and I really like it. It's a do 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 do. I just love that drills into you as you're playing.
Is that a Lotus there? Is that car?
I think that's what it is. That's the kind of car that we're going for. Something like because this is like 84. So
yeah,
that's
it's
like
not a DeLorean
car. Yeah. And you can see right here. Here's a little screen grab from the game. You can see you got the armored cars. I hated those all the time because they're always ramming you off the road, and you got other cars you blow up. And then whenever you got your car trashed, you had this truck coming in, and on the side over here is where it would park and let you off with a new car. And it felt very much like Knight Rider, because he had the rolling truck that he kept using in the show. So I thought this game was just so 80s. It played on so many things, on James Bond, on Knight Rider, on just these awesome, cool concepts. And here's a good shot of the actual game itself. And you can see I love that. See, even here, they gave it just like the Knight Rider, the rocker. It wasn't like a regular steering wheel. They gave you the rocker steering wheel. I just love that about it. It's just and you get the gear shift. A lot of fun. I could spend hours on this and tons of money. I mean, literally hundreds of dollars of money went into this game while I was growing up. I just love this game. It's like one of my favorites. I just it's so much fun.
Isn't it a different experience? Like, you play a video game today, you're playing at home, you got your controller and all that kind of stuff. But this was a different experience because you have all the game. First off, you're in a room with all these different lights, all these different games with their lights on, and you're standing up too. And you're usually standing, with a buddy or something, and watching this thing, and that's a different kind of experience to go somewhere, like going to the theater, like instead of in your house. So it was kind of fun, wasn't it? I mean, I didn't play these much, but I whenever they'd have them in a restaurant or something like that, or a race car game or something like that, and they were always fun,
Yep, and I'm not the only one that thinks so, because here's Headless Bourgeoisie, who says Spy Hunter was great, especially the arcade version. Yes, it was. I love this game. I've talked to the wife, about maybe at some point getting an arcade deck like this in the house somewhere for me. And it's like this would be like on the short list of ones I would want to have. Like, if I'm only going to get one, this is probably one of the ones I'd want to get, is to get this one because it's just so awesome.
How much do you think these things cost?
Oh, I'm sure it's at least a few $1,000s.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's a little pricey.
Yeah, if you wanted one that was like a retro authentic one, it's going to be a few $1,000s for sure.
Yeah.
But
do they make repops?
They make though.
I don't know if they're going to have a repop for a modern version for Spy Hunter, because you're going to lose some of the functionality with the type of controllers and stuff, because that's very unique to this game. Because I was looking into one where you get it loaded with a lot of different games, but of course that's got a pretty standard system with it, with the buttons and the controllers. So this one's obviously much more unique. So.
And then, of course, we got Leg Kick here with some of his picks. He thought Joust was great, and he loved Pac-Man, which, again, I think any kid in the 80s, you loved Pac-Man.
Yeah, Pac-Man was fun, wasn't it? Yeah.
Asteroids and Galaga. Galaga's another one. It's like, another one I played a lot. It's not among my favorites, but I played it a lot. Galaga, everyone knows that game. But that's just our first. So the next one up here.
The games I played really were not really at the arcade, but the handheld ones, like the handheld football one and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
You were one of those sports nuts
Where
guys.
you sit there with your thumb and you gotta like go like you're nervous react, like you gotta do a twitch to try to make the button go fast.
Well, talking about a nervous react here, we got Operation Wolf. Again, another favorite of mine. This is like total action oriented. You get to feel like you're in an 80s action movie. You're Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're Sly Stallone. You're out there trying to save POWs and kill the bad guys. And just, it's like, to me, this is like the originator of the shoot 'em up. Like all the modern day, first person shooter games. This is like the progenitor to all of that. And you'll see that here in a minute, because this is like your screen right here. You can see you got your hand grenades, you got your bullets and how many clips you have. And I love this about it. What made this a lot of fun was, unlike in the movies where the guys never seem to run out of ammunition, you could literally run out of ammunition while you're playing a game if you're not, sharpshooter enough. And you'd run out of weapons, and then the guys start shooting you, and you can see your health bar here goes down until you're dead. And so it's just a great game. Like I said, the first person shooter. It's one of the first ones, to me, one of the best ones. And you can see right here. Here's the setup for it. Look at that. You got the Uzi right there.
That's cool.
Like I just made it so much. You walk into the arcade and you see this. You see this. Oh my God! Look, it's a Uzi right there on the game. It's just hilarious. You can just have hours of fun with your buddies with this. Just get yourself and a couple of friends together, and you just take turns on it. Then you keep shooting until you die. And you're like, all right, we'll switch out, and then you switch with someone else, and then they take it over, and just that's a great time right there. Operation Wolf, just one of the best shoot 'em up games ever invented.
Hey, Tron the movie, was that actually from a video game, or did the movie just have take
movie first in the game?
It was supposed to be a game. It's a game that didn't actually exist, but they were basing it off of how video games are made. So it's kind of like in the vein of a video game, but not a game that actually existed.
So it wasn't an existing game that they made a movie from.
Right.
No, but they did
make
later,
an arcade game.
later make a video game of it after the movie was successful.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
So
I like that movie. I thought it was great when it came out.
One of my big guilty pleasures, to be honest. I love it way more than I probably should.
Yeah. It's
I actually love
the
short-lived series they had on Disney XD called Tron Uprising. That was a great series. That was a great series.
Did you guys like the new one? I thought the new one was pretty good.
Tron Legacy?
Yeah, the new one wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second half of the movie was a little weak, but the first part was fantastic, and they had some good premises in it. Yeah.
But that first one, it was kind of almost spooky how it kind of brought you into this really dark world, and I thought that was really interesting. Of course, Jeff Bridges was great. And who that villain, that guy is? He was a villain in a lot of movies. I think he was a villain in what was the Time Bandits and stuff like that. He was great villain.
Well, here you get more from Leg Kick saying the X-Men side scroller fighting game and the WWF video games. Well, we'll get into some of that here in a minute here. So you don't get too far ahead of us now, Leg Kick. But next up,
I wanted to say,
my childhood right here.
I was going to say, I couldn't agree more about David Warner and Tron. And for us, again, I think we're pretty close in age, but I know for me at age 11, when this movie drops, 10, 11 years old, Pops was blown away at all the computer stuff and just the graphics. It was so far ahead of everything else that had existed at that point.
Yeah. How old
Tron
are you?
To me is fantastic.
How old are you?
54.
Oh, I'm 59. Okay.
Okay.
So I was 12. I was 12 when Star Wars came out, the first one. We went nuts. I mean, we went our whole family went bananas. I saw it in the theater like 5 times. That was unheard of that we go see a movie again in the theater. We saw it once and that was it, But man, that was just so cool. I couldn't believe it,
Well, here's my next hit, number 3 here. We got Time Pilot. Now, again, it's just another like, it's in the vein of Spy Hunter, only with a plane down instead of a car. But again, I just loved it because of how it took you through. You can see right here, it goes through the eras, 1910, 1940, 1970, 1983, which is around the time the game came out, and then 2001. So you're fighting spaceships and you're fighting, biplanes and helicopters and all kinds of awesome stuff, like throughout aerial stuff throughout the eras, as it were. And I just love that whole feeling. And I've always thought like this could be like a great, comic book series. You know, you have a guy who's a pilot in a plane that keeps going through time, and he fights battles through time. I think this could be like a great concept for like an actual comic book, you know, something like Time Pilot. And I just love the game. This is probably like, I don't know, maybe this might almost be my favorite game of all time. I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little bit, but this one is definitely high on the marker there. And you can see right here you are, you know, fighting planes and trying to blow up the big baddies and everything else. Just, you know, and I like this. It shows you right here how many lives you got. I always love that when they show you how many lives you have in the game. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Always loved, and I'll tell you, I always got the high score whenever I played Time Pilot. You know, whenever I go into the arcade, whatever the high score is, doesn't matter. I'm going to pump in enough money until I get that high score on Time Pilot.
What was your name? What's your handle? So
I just used my initials, JFM.
Okay.
I just used my initials because I wanted people to know I'm the best. This is my game.
You sound like George. You sound like George from Seinfeld, where he got the high score on Frogger. You know, remember that episode?
He runs up the battery pack and tries to get across the street, but he's basically playing Frogger to get across the street. It's fantastic.
Oh, I love that.
And we can see here, like Headless Bourgeoisie. He actually forgot about the game, but it was fun. Yes, it's a fun game, and Leg Kick as well. Both of them. Yes, he remembers it. Yes. And you know, here's once again, this is our machine right here. Yeah, you got the fire button on the one side, and you got your controller over here, and you can have 1 or 2 players. That's a, you know, classic standard. Like I said, I mean, imagine having this in your house, and you could just play it whenever you wanted. That would be so freaking awesome.
So this is more like the standard setup you can get, like you were saying, Dan, earlier, with like you can get them like loaded, so you can get them now for a few $1,000s, where it comes with the controllers and all that, and it will come loaded with a few hundred games or whatever. So you can have the case, the cabinet, all decorated the way you want, and it comes loaded with different types of games.
Yeah, I've seen those, but like I said, for me, if it was me, I guess just like with the comics, you know, I'm not big on like trade collections and things of that nature unless it's all original material, like reprint material. That doesn't interest me. Say, oh, I'd rather get the actual comic itself. I'm too much of a purist, and it's the same with these. Like, I wouldn't want a Time Pilot that was part of some conglomerate that way. Just give me the original Time Pilot game. That's what I want.
Well, the problem is going to be able to maintenance on the thing, because obviously, does it still work? And then how are you going to maintain it with the parts and everything you need to keep it going? That's the issue that's come in hand with these, because you know the vintage cabinets like you and I would be talking about. It all sounds great, but then whenever it fizzles out because you've got 40-year-old tubes and stuff inside the thing.
Yeah, and who even knows how to repair it? You know,
correct. Lake has a little idea on how to help with the maintenance costs right here. Just charge your friends. Hey, come on over and play my Time Pilot game, but it's going to cost you.
Sounds good. Hey, he mentions Dragon's Lair. I remember that game.
That was one of my favorites.
The animation in it is great. It looks fantastic. But he said it played a little bit bland. You guys think that, or
no? I disagree. That was one of my favorite games. I don't want to get ahead of James's list, so I'll let him keep going before.
Was that on your list, James? Is Dragon's Lair on your list?
No, it's not on my list.
Okay. Yeah. So we can mention
I had others that were ahead of that one, but because that one came along a little bit later. But I totally love Dragon's Lair. That was freaking fantastic.
Okay, well, numbered next, and then now here we go to Leg Kicks thing. You were talking about the X-Men side scroller game. Well, I liked the Marvel Superheroes game, which is like the battle for the Infinity Gems. And so you get to play as the character. You have your choice. You could be Cap, you could be Wolverine, you could be Iron Man, you can be Spider-Man, you can be the Hulk. There's so many characters you can pick from in this. And like right here, it shows you can see, and I just love that stuff. You had like multi-buttons, and you could do combinations and things to like, you know, use special powers and all this other stuff. It was like the best, you know, fighting game I'd ever seen. I mean, everyone talks about, like, you know, of course there's Mortal Kombat, the progenitor of all this, and lots of other ones that came along. Street Fighter.
Does this play like Street Fighter? Kind of like.
Yes, it does. Yes. It plays very much like them, but it's all with the Marvel characters. And like when I saw this game for the first time, it blew me away. Like, oh, awesome! All my comic characters are now in a video game I can play. How awesome is this? And you know, you're fighting. The whole point of the game is to get to the end where you fight Thanos. After you collect all the Infinity Gems, the gems come together and they bring out Thanos, and then you got to fight Thanos in the end. Only once did I ever get to the end to Thanos, and I lost to him.
Oh,
This was definitely not an easy game.
You got to get this game. You got to get a rematch, man.
This was pretty hard to find. This was not as common in the marketplace as Street Fighter was. And Ninja Turtles was my favorite equivalent of this game. It was like the Ninja Turtle one was very common because that was popular during that time. Same concepts, of course. And I think with Street Fighter and maybe not Street Fighter. I know in Ninja Turtles you could play 4 characters. Could you play 4 characters with the Marvel one, or is it only 2?
No, it's only
It's
two.
only 2. Yeah.
But I can see here, like, look at all the various buttons for like the combos you can make and stuff when you're doing your battles.
Yeah.
And
very Street
I remember
Fighter.
one time the time I got to Thanos at the end, I had people who were in the arcade. When I first started playing, I was just playing like everyone does. But I saw by the time I got down to Thanos, I had like 4 or 5 people standing around watching me play because they were just like, "Whoa, look at this guy go!"
Yeah, it's funny back then, and Pops, you kind of remember this is maybe you do too, James. Is Marvel wasn't the greatest at marketing its characters into other venues. Like they was having a heck of a time getting movies made and just other video games, things like that. It just didn't seem to. They didn't know what they had. They didn't know or something, or they weren't getting it. Now, of course, it's hugely popular, but back then, it besides the comics were hugely popular, but not always the other things,
Well, they went broke, right? So in the late 70s, I think the marketing was really good. We had different cartoons, we had different things that were navigating really well into the Star Wars era, and Star Wars really kind of helped save Marvel, right? Because they got the license to do the Star Wars comic book, which gave them an influx of cash and all these different spin-offs. They start the Star Comics stuff, and it kind of booms for them for a while. But by the time you get to the 90s, they're running out of cash and liquidation. They didn't know how to all the licensing with all the really terrible movie projects and stuff like that. It just got over their
remember they did file Chapter 11 in the 90s there.
Oh
right?
yeah,
So
that's how Sony got Spidey.
Yep.
Then we got Headless Wars. He says, "I have Contra arcade machine, fun game, not a favorite, but I got it for free from a friend." It's like, wow, that's some friend giving you a free console, cabinet game like Contra. Wow, that's a great friend. And then we got Leg Kick.
Now, did you get it? Did you get it free from a friend? Did he know you got it for free from?
Oh, you mean like he broke into his house and took it?
I got it for free from a friend. Wait a minute.
Did he actually give it to you?
This is important information. Did he actually give it to you, or did you just get it?
I got it.
Yes.
Okay, well, now we are my final one here that I chose again, and it's another one. It's a classic, probably one of the first of its genre. Pole Position 2. I like it better than the original because you have more track options, different tracks, so you can do like different kind of races. So it's not all the same race. But yeah, this was another one. Just I just loved it. It's totally classic. I love this here too. I love how you got the ad placement in the game.
Yeah.
They couldn't have just made up like pop cola or some generic thing for no. We're gonna actually get Pepsi's symbol in here.
Careful there.
Free publicity.
Pepsi could have paid for that.
Oh, I know they probably did. They probably did, and that's
versus
what made
the other way
fun.
around.
The driving games. This was the one, and the reason I loved it so much is because of this. This is how it is. You sit down and you got the pedals on the bottom, and you got the steering wheel and the gear shifter to the side. It was awesome. It's like actually a real true driving simulator.
Yep.
And there was a guy that had like a hoagie and ice cream shop when I was working at this collectible shop back home back in like 95. I was working at this shop and I had to walk into work every day, and every day I walked by his place and then I had to walk back on the way home. And whenever I would walk home, I would always stop in and I always have a few quarters on me. I just pop them in and I would just be in there for like, 20, 30 minutes just playing Pole Position 2, trying to make the time so you get your past the time trials and you get into the races and all that stuff. And I could just spend hours doing that. I remember one time I actually did spend like an hour doing that. I was just pumping in quarters and just kept driving, and it was just a great time. And it's you could lose yourself in a game like this. This is just like because you're so totally immersed. Because it's not just a case of eye-hand coordination. You got to like understand when to shift down, when to shift up, hit the brakes, don't hit the brakes, hit the gas. It's all in it's like real true like actual skills you use in life for like driving are necessary in this. And so it's not just a case of like your thumbs and your eyes. It's a whole body experience almost trying to do this, and it's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I have to admit, I'm disappointed. I'm sharing my screen because I'm actually disappointed. So do you not remember the Star Wars cabinet game, the Star Wars arcade game? I shared it with you so you could see. I actually thought this was going to be on the list. This is the Star Wars equivalent of what you just showed, where I had all the favorites people talked about in chat, like Galaga, Centipede. This is the one where you got inside and you're doing like you're doing the trench run. This is the one where you had.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, Pops, is it was never anywhere I was at.
Oh,
I heard of the game, but I'd seen images like this. I'd heard of it, but I never saw it anywhere. Like anywhere I lived, like there was never one around where like, oh, I'll go play the Star Wars game, because I would have played this if it was available. But
I can imagine. Yeah, it looks great.
None of the places I was frequenting ever had anything like this. They never had this game.
So hard. Oh, it was so insane, and it was so immersive. So yeah, that was the one. I thought it was going to be the one you were pulling out there. No, so I was an arcade nerd. I don't do video games like at all, and really was out of it. I mean, I did a little bit of it with my kids, but man, when it came to arcade era, man, Tempest, Centipede, Galaga, all that. I mean, oh yeah, I was throwing away quarters like left and right.
Well, we got another person here. We got Stealth X5. Welcome, my friend. Glad you could join us. So yeah, there you go. It's there it was the final one was Pole Position 2. So I mean, just some classic games. I loved them growing up. I played them a million times. I know them backwards and forwards. I could probably play the games in my sleep. I played them so much.
Was Dragon's Lair one you were familiar with as well, or just not?
I did see Dragon's Lair, but I'm more of like where Leg Kick was with it. The gameplay for me wasn't as interesting.
Well, it was a formula, right? You had to know the pattern to be able to play the game. It wasn't really like a skill thing. It was like you had to know a pattern. If you didn't know the pattern, that's how it was. It was it's like walking through a movie where there's like a formula to figure things out. So
yeah,
but yeah, the Don Bluth stuff was great.
Yeah, the animation on it and stuff, the graphics were beautiful, but like I said, the game just didn't really engage me like the way these ones did. These ones just much more engagement in the game with the ones I picked here, but yeah, so there you go, folks. My top 5
just
games.
Sitting in those kind of like booths like that too, that also just gives you a feeling like you're really the pilot. You're really playing something. Yep. You're kind of like, this is your vehicle. Mm-hmm. Had that feel.
I agree.
Actually, it wasn't that difficult, really. I mean, once you understood how to do the shifting, once you know how to shift up and then when to shift down and then shift back up, so you don't ram into people. Because if you just hit up into high gear and just drive in high gear the whole time, you're going to crash. When you hit the turns or when you get somebody too close, you're going to hit and crash. You got to know when to downshift, and then you shift it back up. And as long as you knew how to do that, yeah, you could play for a long time on that game. It's just got to know that timing. That's all it is. You got to know that. See, like I said, it brought on skills that you didn't use in other games that way. Of knowing how to like the downshift and the upshift, and it's not just this. It's not just this. It's it's this and then the pedals, and it's like a whole body. Your whole body is involved in the game.
Agreed. James, I do have to go here soon. I just wanted to end with a question. I wanted to ask you, because you've gotten through your first 300, you've gotten to this first phase, if you will. What's been your favorite thing so far?
Probably the things is the ones I've started to do now with the Sequential Art Showcase and the creative conversations, because to me that's bringing a value to people, because you're getting to hear from the creators of the comics, not just hearing my views on comics or something I like or something I don't. It's them telling you about what the work is and what it's about and why it's so important. And the one I did with Dan, he gave like insights into how to do the stuff. So you learn not just, why they do it, but how they do it. Maybe it can make you help to be a better artist. If you're someone out there who wants to be a comic artist, here are guys talking in these, little videos with me, giving you details on how to make yourself a better artist. I think that's something of real value to the people. And so those are the ones I'm thinking like right now, that's like the biggest thing I've done right now is those. And that's why I want to keep doing more. If I can just find more people who actually want to come on
Mhm.
That's the hardest part is it's I got all this stuff and it's like this but if they don't want to do it, they're like they don't want to do it. And it's like, okay, so I got to move on, find
Yeah.
someone else. And,
Well, it's
it's
hard to
just
commit sometimes to these things. For me,
it is.
like I think I was saying, you guys in the email exchange, it's like what a lot of these guys do now. They have rooms and these DM rooms, and they just put the Ethan or something will put the link in the room, and then whoever shows up, and usually you get a bunch of guys. So
Yeah,
Well,
well,
it's just a lot
unfortunately,
going on. Everybody has a lot going
I'm
on.
a more
So,
meticulous kind of guy. I like to
Yeah.
plan my stuff out and not just have it
Yeah.
so haphazard. That's
Yeah.
just the way I am, though. So I don't know
Yeah.
if I can. If
I'll
that
tell
would
you what,
work.
it's tough to be on the shows when there's 10 people because
Agreed.
you can't get in a word hardly. But
Nope.
what I think my favorite is like 3 or 4. That's a good number.
Yeah, I think it is because you got a good cross current of views and personalities without being overwhelming.
Yeah, you get a chance to say something. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, up next, before Pops heads out, I want to try to get this in with him real quick. I decided to showcase to you guys a piece of art that I've had for a while that I haven't posted up anywhere. And I was holding off on posting it because I'm going to post it up on my Comic Art Fans Gallery tomorrow for Thanksgiving because I think the piece sort of fits in line with the holiday. So I thought I'd share it all here with you guys tonight, and you guys get a little preview here of something. So let me bring that up here for you. And here it is. It's a page from Fantastic Four number 296, the 25th anniversary issue, with that great Barry Windsor Smith cover. And this page is by Ron Frenz, and you can see here it features mostly on Sue Storm. You kind of see her doing the motherly thing. Here she is talking to her son.
Zoom in a little bit more as I can see it.
Let me get that up a little bigger there. You can see here she is, checking in on her little baby. Meanwhile, she's, now that she knows he's okay, I can concentrate on Reed. And you see her walking around, checking things out. And then she eventually gets to Reed, who's thinking about, of course, Ben Grimm, because this is the issue that brings the Thing back into the fold, is this issue. And it's like a stellar issue because you got so many great talents on it. You got Barry Windsor Smith, you got Ron Frenz, you got Klaus Janson, you have, I think, who was it? Al Milgrom, you've got, just Mark
Silvestri's
Silvestri
on that one too, right? Yeah.
Silvestri did a few. Yeah, it's just because it's a giant sized issue. So there's like multiple different artists doing like sections of the book. And so it's like you got a host of artists. And then, of course, a plot by Jim Shooter with a script by Stan the Man Lee. So, I mean, you got, just the big man at Marvel at the time was Jim Shooter. You got Stan Lee, the co-creator, working on the book. I mean, it's, outside of having Jack Kirby work on it, which unfortunately he didn't, I can't think of how you could have made it any bigger than it was. And so to own a page from such a standard-bearing issue, the 25th anniversary of the FF and the 25th anniversary, technically, of Marvel, because everyone says the Marvel age began with Fantastic Four #1. So this is like the 25th anniversary of Marvel right here, and it's just, I was so happy to get this when I had the chance. I was like,
great storytelling, great panel layout. This is what I sometimes feel is missing from comics today, especially some the independents. They don't really know how to do this, but you got to set your stage, you got to set your scene. Look at that interior there. That's fantastic. With the plants and the foreground, middle ground, background. They really know what they're doing. And it's even though it's just a talking thing, it's got drama. You want to read this page, you want to find out what she's saying, and her dialogue is interesting. It draws you in. That last panel or the panel at the bottom, that's exciting. That just that the speed lines and stuff. She's not doing anything terribly spectacular, but it's it grabs you. You want to read it.
Exactly. And like I said, for me, the whole thing about getting the page was the whole family aspect, because, people call them Marvel's first family. And in this page, you really get to see that, because here she is, she's doing her motherly duty, worrying about her son. And then after that, her immediate thoughts go to her husband, because he's depressed about what happened to the Thing, and he blamed himself for everything, and he's been locked away, and I'm worried about him. And so she goes in to check on him because she cares. I mean, this is what the whole thing is about. This is the family aspect to the story. This is something I don't think you see very much in the modern FF. You don't see like this kind of a scene of, just that family concern type of stuff, the whole father knows best type of thing, you could say. Yes, exactly. And I loved it for that. And so, we'll go in here, and this is the published version. You can see it in color. This is what it looks like.
I'm not wild about those colors, but
Well, it might be, I think this is like the updated where they've done it where it's not like on the old newsprint. It's like the newer version where they
yeah.
ramped them up with like computerized stuff, I think maybe, but even so, the coloring doesn't like ruin the actual work. You're not looking at it going, oh God, that's awful. It makes the whole pencils look wrong. No, it looks, and I've
I
always
guess
said
it's
that's the
basic comic
thing
color,
about
you
like,
know.
yeah. Anyway, and I've said as for me, I said colorists and letterers, they're doing it right when you don't really notice what they're doing, when you're not paying attention to what they're doing. If they're doing it wrong, you notice it, and that's bad. So when they're doing it and you're not being noticed, that means you're doing a good job.
Yeah, I would love to
Great. It's a
recolor
great
this
piece.
myself.
Beautiful.
I would love to recolor this, but that'd be
And
fun.
here's the cover, again with that classic, that whole thing with the border with every Marvel character,
the portrait
at the time.
Series, yes,
and a portrait in the center. Yeah, just a classic issue. I was very glad to get it. And here's from the inside front cover. And I'm going to read this because I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm going to read Shooter's bit here. He goes, nearly 2.5 decades after reading Fantastic Four #1, I was asked to write the plot for this, the silver anniversary issue of the Fantastic Four. Writing it I felt the same sort of joyous thrill I did while reading issue #1. I experienced that electric excitement yet again while reading the absolute awesome script written for this issue by, of course, Stan himself. That feeling of sheer joy made me glad to be a part of Marvel Comics all 3 times. It made me realize just how great a responsibility I have as editor-in-chief to safeguard and carry on the legends that mean so much to so many of us. I could ramble on about that, but if Ben Grimm were here, he'd probably tell me what he once told Reed Richards way back when. You don't have to make a speech, big shot. We understand. I hope so. But if you don't, I think you will soon. 64 pages from now, to be exact. And, to me, this, again, just like how I said in the art, you said, you mentioned, Dan, how like just a great scene with, great backgrounds and stuff that like you don't see that much anymore in the books. This is what you don't see from the people making the books. I mean, the key here is what he said here. That feeling of sheer joy made me glad to be a part of Marvel Comics all 3 times. It made me realize just how great a responsibility I have as editor-in-chief to safeguard and carry on the legends that mean so much to so many of us.
Oh my gosh, that's gone.
Today.
That attitude is gone. Doesn't exist.
Agreed.
But so like to me, like that is, when, I've done many streams talking about the problems in comics today and whatnot. This to me, when I read this, I'm like, that's what's missing. When you break it all down, you boil all the irrelevancies away. At the core, what is the problem? The people in charge and the people making the books don't have this attitude anymore. That's what's missing.
Serve the reader, and he also, you can see he's also a fan. He's writing these things as someone who loves these characters deeply.
Yes.
And it's it's a perfect, you have to have this. If people know the characters and then do their very best to try to serve the readership.
Yeah. Anything you want to add there, Pops?
No, I'm just going to say, brother, I got to dip out. I am so honored that you included me and asked me to be a part of this. I'm so proud of you, what you've done.
Just before you head out here, here's the picture of me with Jim Shooter here at SummerCon, where he signed it for me. There it is, me with Shooter.
This year?
And yes, this year in June. This is when I got the page and I had him sign it. And this is something he showed me that he had. This is a note. You can see dated here from March of '86.
Oh, wow.
It says, Dear Jim, in case I forgot to tell you, that was a sensational outline you wrote for the FF 25th anniversary-ish. You sure make my script job easy and fun. Excelsior, Stan Lee. He got a personal thank note from Stan the man himself.
That is fantastic. It's really
that's great, man. That's awesome.
And you could see that he also knew how to treat his employees. Maybe to a certain extent. I mean, he knew how to talk to them, anyways.
Exactly. Right, and again, like I said, just another aspect of what's so much missing in the stuff today. But yeah, that's why I wanted to share this page, because it not just because the family aspect, as I said, and it's Thanksgiving. We all think about family around this time of the year and stuff, but also to show that what the book was about and why they did it. It mattered so much.
Let's let Pops go.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I do have to dip. I really do appreciate you, man. And congratulations again. Onward and upwards.
Thank you, my
Dan, it's
friend.
always great to see you, man. We
Yeah,
got to
we'll have to
connect
check.
and hang out
We'll have
sometime.
to hook up again. Something.
That'd be great.
Okay,
All right, man. Take care.
See you. Bye.
Take it easy, my friend.
Yeah, this letter's so cool, man.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it when because that's what happened when I showed him the art. He first was taking me, I was like, "Whoa!" Like he was like surprised somebody had something like that for him. I said, "Yeah, well, you worked on it. You should sign it." And he said, "You know what? Let me show you something." And he had this folder on his table, and he paged through it, and he opened it, and he paged it right to this page, and it's just like, "Oh my God, a personal letter from Stan the Man Lee. How awesome is that?"
I got a personal letter from Gene Colan. I wrote to him once, and he wrote me back.
Nice.
It was so great. I still have it. But he was just really saying, "Hey, yeah, you got good dynamics and all that kind of stuff." And I was just like, that was so nice of him.
I actually got a personal note one time from Bill Mantlo.
Oh, okay.
I had sent a little well wish to him, tell him how much I enjoyed his work at Marvel, and his, he's one of my favorite writers, and he wrote me back thanking me for my interest and enjoyment. He goes, he really enjoyed his time working on those characters himself. So I mean, like I said, and that's what's missing today. We don't have that kind of. I don't think you have that kind of feeling from people in the industry that they would want to do something like that.
I don't think so. Because that's another thing. Just as I mentioned, these guys are fans. They read these books, and so they know what it's like. They know what it feels like to be the fan.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm a comic book fan. So when someone contacts me and says, "Oh, that's cool," or something like that, I'm like, "Yeah," I'm like, "Yeah, I thought it worked out great," and I'm like talking to them like I'm a fan,
Yep. Yeah, and here's a leg kick. He goes, "Shooter is a great guy to talk to. He is just a walking encyclopedia of Marvel knowledge."
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that
Yeah.
for a minute.
You know what? A lot of those guys were though back then, and you kind of had to be. And also another thing too is you could, especially if you worked there, you would get the whole line. Like for a couple of years when I was at Marvel, they just sent me their whole line every month. You know what I'm saying? So I had lots of comics for a while, and but they read them all, and there weren't that many, so they could read them all, and they would know the whole history of all that stuff.
Yep. And that's how you kept up with other guys' stuff. And so, like, if you were to do, like, say, a fill-in issue, you're like, "Oh, well, I know what's going on because I've been reading the book, getting those free comps."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. When Shooter left, that they just screwed over Marvel totally. I mean, they didn't follow the lore. They didn't protect the characters, and it only got worse. And it just a disaster. It's too bad.
Here's a leg kick again. He goes, "Can you imagine sending a letter to T. Franklin?" Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Oh
sending
my God.
I mean, unless it's a cease and desist letter to tell her to just stay away from me, and unless that's the letter, I can't see sending her one.
Cease and
No,
desist writing comics.
that's right. Could you please cease and desist from writing your horrible books now, please?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. That stuff. I don't know who did that. I don't know who got control of Marvel and then went completely woke like that, just blew it all to pieces. I don't know. But
Well, a lot of people would say, I mean, maybe it was happening even before this, but definitely after Quesada took over and he brought on Son of Amanat as like basically second in command. That's where the wokeness really comes in. That's where everything
okay.
really
That's
kind of
who it
goes
was.
to pot. So we're talking like circa 2000, I don't know, to 2010, 2012, right? Like right around the time of that, they called it the all new, all different Marvel. Right around that time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That was a disaster. That's for sure. Yeah, but you know what though? I was gonna say the arts have always been a little bit woke, even Marvel itself. Like if you think about the history of my comic book career, what's the first characters I worked on? Cloak and Dagger. What was that?
yep.
A poor black guy and a rich white girl. And I remember reading the stories, and it was kind of like it was white guilt. And I remember I didn't like that aspect of it. Like, oh, okay, here we go, dragging it through the mud kind of thing. And then I did
But that's
Shadow Masters, and kind of like
is-
that wasn't really fun. It was a good story, but it wasn't like
Yeah, but
It was,
the thing is, they didn't really focus on that with them. The whole thing about them was their contrast to each other. You know, he's black, she's white. He's man, she's woman. Her powers are light based. His powers is darkness based. She wants to be like, a hero, like a forgiving type of person, and he's much more the vengeance seeker. You know, they're like the contrast of the two is what it was all about, and that's what they focused on. They didn't say, "Hey, let's make it about a race thing, or let's make it about a gender thing." No,
they
no, they
did
said
it. They did somewhat. Yeah, they did somewhat.
not like you see now, not
Not
like
like
this.
today. Not like today. But yeah, it was
You
there.
know, I
I'm
mean,
saying what I'm trying to say
when
is
they did
this
it, then it
stuff
was
was
just
there. It
yeah,
just
but it was just
wasn't.
like I said, just for the contrast, the contrast aspect. Is
Yeah.
why they used it. They didn't say, "Hey, let's make it all about this," because that's no, and
Yeah.
that's the mistake they've made.
Yeah. Today they would be all about that. All about it.
Yep, there it is. Leg kick. He's
But
Quesada,
as you know, James,
Maxwell
the first
Alonso. Yep.
I mean, you may know after I did, Cloak and Dagger and then Shadow Masters, that post-war Japan story, which wasn't exactly fun, but it was a good story, so I did that. My first superhero was, and I was excited. I thought it was Captain America, but it was U.S. Agent. Remember the first time he gave up his red, white, and
Yep.
blue,
Well,
and
it was
that's
John
see
Walker. It was
there's
the guy who
that
was
was
the
the
replacement Cap. Yeah.
that was the first time they decided that they didn't like America. So the lefty guys were in there, and the America hater people were in there. They didn't like that red, white, blue, so they switched it out. And the story that I did, I don't know if you remember it or not. The villain was written by Fabian Nicienza, by the way, super lefty. The villain was opening fire on little kids coming across the border, and he had a Dallas Cowboy helmet on and a Harley Davidson jacket. It was just all
Yeah,
this
I
stereotypical.
remember the title of the story was The Xenophobic
The
Man.
xenophobic man. And so it's like this again, this stuff isn't really new, but what happened was they got in control. They got the guys who were sort of that was their foot in the door back then. It took a while for them to actually take over and completely run things. And then
Yeah, but
every
listen,
story's
e
xenophobic.
even in that story, Dan, they still at the time still had to use the fundamentals. You know, there was a lot of action in your story, and
Right.
there was a lot of like personal characterization, like about the U.S. agent and the people he was interacting with. There was still that going on, even though it was the plot was, as you say, very much. You can see it's very much a far left ideology in there, but they
Yeah.
still understood the fundamentals of like this is supposed to be entertainment. It's not
Yeah,
supposed to be.
they still had you had to have a solid story structure and all that kind of stuff. And
Exactly.
that was
And
they had
now you
they had the
don't.
fundamentals there, but
Yeah, and now you don't, and that's why it is. But here we got Leg Kicks with a question here for you, Dan. He goes, "What character would you have liked to work on in the '80s? Like if you had a choice, like you went to Marvel or you went to DC, and they said carte blanche, Dan, what do you want to do?"
Spider-Man probably. Spider-Man. Yeah. In fact, I did get to draw part of a Spider-Man story. It was that Dead Man's Hand where I did the
Yep.
backup story. And that was one of the things. There was a lot of experiences at Marvel that just really were frustrating. One of them was that Dead Man's Hand story because I drew Spider-Man in more of a traditional my style, like the Romita, the classic Spider-Man. And that was
Yep.
when McFarlane was happening, and especially Eric Larson. And they took my sort of normal looking guy, the inker, and he made all the legs super thin and funky and weird and just basically ignored what I did. Now that's the most frustrating experience you can imagine. When you draw something in pencil pretty tight, you give it to someone, you get back something where they just ignored it. Doesn't your stuff just use it as an underlay.
Yeah.
So that was really frustrating. But if I could have drawn Spider-Man the way I wanted to draw him, I would have loved working on Spider-Man. That would have been a blast.
Well, I think the problem for you with that book is the other part of the book was drawn by Derek Robertson, and they probably wanted someone to make it look uniform.
Yeah, was he? Did he kind of do the? Yeah, I barely remember it now. Yeah, so he did a Larson kind of looking Spider-Man. Perhaps?
Yeah, he had the bigger eyes and things like that. Yeah,
I don't mind the bigger eyes. I did actually. That actually was one contribution that I actually like McFarlane put into Spider-Man. I did like McFarlane's Spider-Man, and I remember the Spider-Man. Actually, we could actually bring that up. The one Spider-Man illustration I did for the Marvel Masterpieces. And you will see I did the McFarlane influence, This isn't coming up for me. Why not is it coming up for me?
Well, here's another question from Blake. He goes, "Which inker would you feel you would most like to work with? And I think for you, it's Ian Aiken was the one you liked best. But I guess if you had your druthers, probably Kevin Nowlan.
Kevin Nolan, yeah, or
Kevin Nolan.
or because he did, that one thing, or let's see, I really would have loved to have Scott Williams take on my work, because he was just so good, But here, let me. I found the Spider-Man here. Hang on a second. You'll see.
Another person in the chat came in. Blackjack comes in. He goes, "Agents of Law is my favorite Dan Lawless art, except maybe the cash grab cover."
Cash grab cover.
Well, we'll get into some of that in a little bit here, but let's share it up here. Here's Dan's Spider-Man and Hobgoblin.
Yep. Now there's obviously the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man eyes, the McFarlane. Those are the McFarlane eyes for sure,
And
that is the McFarlane Hobgoblin. So this was a lot of fun. This is possibly my favorite illustration that I ever did for Marvel. I loved it. I was actually, and I'm still proud of it. I think it holds up today still. But of course, and then I did. Let's see. Let me bring up this other one here.
And Legcake here says that his art teacher drove Todd McFarlane from the airport, and her daughter sat in his lap.
Oh, is that cool? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, here's this one. Yeah, this is one of
his second favorite Spider-Man piece after the Hobgoblin one.
Yeah. Now I don't think that Spider-Man's quite as successful in this one, but it's pretty good. And this is definitely another McFarlane Spider-Man.
Yeah, you can see it in those eyes. You can definitely see it.
But even the Wolverine, I was using him as the influence for the Wolverine as well. So did you see how I signed my name there in this one?
Yeah, I like it on the tombstone.
On the gravestone there. I thought that was kind of fun, making it 3D, kind of, So yeah, my two Spider-Mans. This is how I would have drawn Spider-Man if I could have done it. And I still do love Spider-Man. I have to say it's a great character. I mean, when you think about it, it is the ultimate kid character because, not only can you track mud all over the floor, you can track it all over the ceiling. This is every mother's worst nightmare. And then you spray webs, you spray glue everywhere, sticky glue. You can make a total mess. I mean, it's the ultimate kid character.
It is. It really is.
Climbing the walls. I mean, your mom would be climbing the walls.
Well, now we're going to get to the final segment that I had set up for the show here. And what this is, folks, is, you saw me talk about video games and comics. Now we're going to talk about television. And I found a bunch of banned commercials. These are commercials that were banned for one reason or another. Now, some of these are items you're going to know by sight. Some of them are ones you probably never heard of. Some of these are American commercials. Some are international. But whatever they are, they all have in common is they're banned. And so we're going to go through these here and get some reaction from Dan here and see what he thinks about some banned commercials.
My reputation's already crushed and gone.
Well, considering your reputation, Dan, these are probably commercials you're going to love. So
if you go on a stream with John Malin, you're pretty much blacklisted for life. Just being on that show. I remember. Oh my gosh! So do you remember the clip he was showing with the Judy Garland in blackface singing?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so. Like I came on the show. It was he and I and Mark Polton, and he plays that clip, and after that, it comes back on, and I go, "Well, guys, see you later, bye." I didn't leave, but I was like, "That's it for me. I'm out of here."
And just a quick side note here on the Spider-Man talk. Here we got Blackjack coming and saying Spectacular Spider-Man 97 was his first Spider-Man comic. So Milgram, Trimpe, and Mooney are his favorite Spider-Man artists.
Yeah, solid artists. I mean, they're good artists.
But now it's time to get into some commercials. And so I'm going to start it off right with something, pretty much going to be obvious why it was banned when you see it. Here we are. So let's get this playing here.
Daddy?
I just think there's a reason that we come in different bags.
Howard. Daddy, all that matters is he's sweet.
He ain't half as sweet as my chocolate.
I hate you!
New M&M's dark chocolate.
Oh man.
The whole who?
Well,
Look
I
who's
can't
coming
believe
to
that.
dinner.
I can't believe they actually get the. I can't believe it got this far in the production. Now, I'm in advertising. That's what I do is TV commercials. I mean, storyboards for TV commercials, and the stuff that we draw that never makes it. It's pretty silly sometimes, but this one looks like, oh my gosh, it would have been killed so quickly in the the first
Oh, yes,
round.
it would have. It definitely would have. So,
Yeah,
so
it's
yeah,
funny though.
that was the first one.
That was funny though.
All right, hold on. Let me get this. Here's the next one. Ah, shoot, come on. I should have known I wouldn't be able to get in without boomering it up. All right, here's our next one.
Imagine me and you and me. No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be.
Oh, it's different.
The only one for me is you, and you for me. So happy together. I can't see love and nobody
Why is that banned?
but you for all my.
Why would that be banned? That's funny.
That is, but again, it's just one of those things. Like, why did they ban that? I said, some of these are your questions. Why did they ban that one? I don't see what's so wrong with that.
I don't think that was banned. That was probably just rejected. As a good, because it's funny, but it doesn't really serve the the customer perhaps or anything like that. So, Brett is here.
Maybe,
from Apex
or
Comics.
just maybe because it's like he took them from a woman, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
That's Brett from.
There you go. Hail
That's
to
that's the
Dan.
guy I'm talking
But
about.
yeah.
The cover. Can we? Is it possible we could send him a link to come on or?
Oh, here you tells you. I don't know if I can do that right now, but because I got so many windows open right now, I don't know if I can do that.
Okay.
But he says to share the fembat art. So yeah, if you got
Okay,
an
good,
image,
good.
Dan,
I got the approval.
Show yes, you got the approval notice.
Oh, should I do that now?
Yeah, if you want to do it now, I mean, I'll pause the
Yeah.
commercials for now, and we can get back to those.
Okay, hang on
We'll
a
show
second.
the art here. This is a little something Dan is working on, folks, that we weren't sure if it could go live or not yet, and we're getting the word from the man behind the concept that no,
Apex
put it out there. Let me
Comics.
see it.
The character is drumroll. There it is. Fembat.
Wow.
So Brett has this great character, and it's a lot of fun. And he asked me to do a trading card, which will be a what do you call it when the stretch goal? They do a stretch goal. Everyone gets a shot of this character. Anyways, I did it. I was really looking at Adam Hughes, and I was thinking about.
It looks like you're getting your Adam Hughes on here.
Exactly. That's what I thought. I thought, why not? And it's sort of so in particular Catwoman, because I love how he does the patent leather. What do you call this? The shiny leather. Is that patent leather? What's the name for that kind of? What kind of leather?
Like latex leather.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, the super shiny stuff, and so I think it turned out really great. So this character's got these, bullet bra boobs, and she's a vampire, obviously, or I would imagine so based on the teeth. I haven't actually read the story yet, and now this is available on Fund My Comics. So you guys gonna look for something to do your holiday shopping. You might want to shop for yourself a little bit and see if you can get these numbers up so we can get this thing made and
what's is that the name of the book? Fembat? That's what
it is the name of the book. It is Fembat. You could actually bring up his campaign if you like. I put it in the private chat. You can take a look at it if you like.
Yeah, let me see here. I'll check that out here. All right. Okay.
It's the first one. Just click on the first one in the private chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just gotta wait for it to bring it up. There it is. Now I can share it. Let me.
Yeah, so this is on Fund My Comic, and I've also got the cover. I'm sure you've seen it. Did you see the cover for Cash Grab, the Trump cover?
Yeah, like I said, we're
Okay.
going to talk about some of that in a minute here. But
So there's two things now that on Fund My Comic, and that's that they have the Cash Grab cover is now the highest selling of all the Fund My comics so far.
and here it is right here, folks. You can see it right here.
This is Fembat, and it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a really cool
Oh, look at
character.
that. You're pretty close to funding already. You're 81%. So come on, folks. I'm sure we can get that up over the line.
Yep. So it looks like a lot of fun. Looks like some cool action and some vampire tales, and so I can tell he had a lot of fun creating this.
Yeah, there you are. So wait, let's see.
Yeah.
And it got some stretch goals here. Wow, a free giant bookmarker, a free magnet. Man, there's some good stuff in here. And there it is. $10,000, folks. You got to get it up there to get that free Dan Wallace trading card. You got some work to do, folks.
Yeah, it's gotta go,
but yeah, there we go. That was pretty cool. I like that. That's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can put the card back up if people take another look at that, because I think I'm pretty happy with it. I really am. I just think
there it is, folks. This is the card you're going to try to get.
This is one of those pieces of art that just popped out on the first try. I was just like, I was going to, I was late at night. I'm like, I'm going to bed. You know what? I'm going to get just to see if I can get a little jump on this, because I was going to do it the next day. Let me see if I can get a little jump on this card art.
And here we go. Creative Faye. Creative Faye has joined us, saying hello to me and Dan.
And Danny Boy. That she knows. there's a name going around. They're calling me Danny Boy a little bit now, which is great. I love it, actually. But anyways, this is
Boy, the pipes are calling.
Yeah. Anyways, I was, I did this late at night. I just, I thought I'll just get a jump on this, and man, I just couldn't stop. I started working. I like this. This is good. It's gonna look great, So I was very excited.
And there it is.
Thank you, Brett. That's Brett is his name.
Yeah, he's giving you the praise there. So okay. So.
Yep, she's sadistic.
Okay, so and let's get back to what we were doing before.
The commercials.
Yes, the commercials. So we saw a couple there. Band commercials. Here's our next one.
He's your 12th man. The guy who will make sure your game day party is epic. He brings the party right to the doors of the most hardcore gridiron fans.
Hot wings! Pretzels! Pepsi!
There's beer, food, and other party essentials from Kmart, all wrapped up with a tidy end game that gets the party started.
Bloodline! Pizza!
Oh my gosh.
Order and pay through the Shop Your Way local app or website. He'll intercept your order for pickup at Kmart or bring it right to your door. Oh, yeah. So when you see him take up his 3-point stance, rest assured, his backfield is in motion for you.
It's really simple. Make your selections on the app. We gather all of your purchases at Kmart. Then pick up your food at local.
And there you go.
I can't. How about that? Another one that got made that should never have been made. Oh my gosh! But it's hilarious. It's funny as hell. So they were probably just cracking up making that stuff.
Oh, I know. And again, at the end, you're thinking, oh, now it's his time. It's like, no. He doesn't get his time. It's just he just ends up losing out in the end both ways.
He can't win. He got felt up by two big guys, and he still can't win. Not his day. So, hey there. Did you freeze? Uh-oh.
And let's see. I'll get the next.
Oh, I thought you were frozen. You're like You didn't move.
Yeah, just for a second, I had to. Yep. And here's our next one here. Now, here you can see, look at the title here, band commercials, learn English. Now, that's what this is about. It's about having to learn English. So here we go.
I wanna fuck you in the ass. I wanna fuck you in the ass. I wanna fuck you in the ass. I wanna fuck you in the ass.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can see this one being banned. What country was that? I wonder which country that was. Oh my god.
I don't know, but it's definitely one where like I guess they're doing something that's about like again learning English, and it's like that's why you want to learn English,
right.
so you know what
Yeah, you might want to know that.
saying.
Yeah, you might want to get at least learn a few words.
But now we got another one. But now we got another one that's well, but here's the thing is now this next one is also an international one, but this one I think is one we can all more agree with than that last one was. What's that?
You were cutting out a little bit when you talked.
Oh, was I? I hope not.
Yeah, just for a second here and there, like a couple of your words. Issues. A couple of your words kind of might be because you're playing a video and it's.
Well, I said the last one now that one we saw obviously why it was banned. Now this one I think when you see it, it's gonna be more along the lines of like, no, it shouldn't have been banned because it's probably way too true. This is what this next one is. So I think you guys are gonna enjoy this.
Correct.
Yes, but very true.
I can't read it.
Zazu condoms. Fun, sexy, safe.
Oh my god!
You've said it. You've probably seen it before. Those kids, you're like, "Oh, that kid's a perfect ad for condoms." There you are. He was the perfect ad.
Oh my gosh, that is really really good. Very funny.
Like I said, some of these, like I said, you see them and you're like I said, the one with the original English, you know why it was banned. Like, oh, that's obvious why that was banned. But this one, not so much. Like, well, why was that banned?
You know what he looked like? He looked like that. Who was that guy from the O.J. Simpson trial? That Cato or something? That's what he reminded me of. There was that one guy who was prominent.
Yeah. Cato Kalin. Yeah. Yeah, Cato Kalin. Yeah, he did kind of look like him, but Cato's hair was a little darker than that guy's, but yeah, he did kind of look like him.
I know.
Well, now next up, we have one with a brand that we all know and love, Doritos. So let's see what it is Doritos that got banned. Why did Doritos get banned for this one?
Billy, use the cleaner.
Oh. Touchdown.
Yeah, it only works with Doritos.
Why only Doritos? You ask too many questions, Billy.
Oh! That's so awful. Oh my gosh. That is repulsive. Oh.
Leg Kick saw it though. He remembers it. But a banned commercial, nonetheless. I guess when you want to wash your fingers, just get a wet nap. It's a lesson there.
All right. Yeah, on that note, I got to get rolling. But let me show you the Trump cover for Cash Grab 2. Speaking of banned, this thing got banned from Indiegogo.
Well, before you do that, though,
What? What's that?
Well, I can share here, Dan. Hold on a second. Let me just since Dan's got to head out here, folks. I'm just
Well,
gonna
let me share it
bring these
because
up here
I
real
can
quick
because
here.
I want to zoom in on certain areas here. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Why isn't this? Okay, there it is.
Okay, we'll add that to the stage. There we are. This is the Cash Grab
Trump,
2.
The Trump variant.
Yeah, the Trump variant. Some call it the Handmaiden variant. I call it the MAGA Man variant. That's what I call it, the MAGA Man, because that's what it is, the MAGA Man. And there's so many little Easter eggs.
Oh yes. Well, the thing is, we can talk a little about this guy. Now Cecil has, if you know the character, he plays a really funny character. He's so funny on all these shows and stuff, and it's over the top. It's kind of just the stuff he says is just you cannot believe it. Anyways, so his comic book is just like that. It's like Mad Magazine, but it's sort of up. Imagine Mad Magazine, but today, now with all the stuff you can lampoon and make fun of and do satire of, there's so much stuff in it. So in this particular issue, he's transitioning so he doesn't have to go to prison and he can go to a female prison instead. So that's what happened at the end of last issue. So I read this thing. I thought, oh my gosh, I just thought I'd buy it just for the heck of it. It was really funny. So anyways, for this one, we decided he wanted to do a Trump cover and he wanted to make it as, in his words, obnoxious as possible. So he thought of this idea of doing play off The Handmaid's Tale, only it's the handmaids are, really serving him like big time, like even over the top, and how they're saying like Trump's like the dictator and all that kind of stuff. We thought, what if we make him really the dictator, like a total emperor kind of guy? So lots of fun stuff on here, and I can zoom in here a bit. And of course, it's got poor Fred and Peanut up here, who were killed by our government. He's got a UFC. He's got instead of a UFC. What's that?
The UFC belt right there.
But it's a UFC G belt actually when you see it. So we changed it a little bit. Now we have some celebrities. There's a celebrity you might know who posed with herself with Trump's head. So yeah, it could. Maybe any similarity to people living or dead is purely coincidental, obviously. So
that's right. Just coincidence.
And then we have you may recognize this celebrity serving the McDonald's, the delicious meal here to Trump as a very popular singer and who was really endorsing Kamala, but now she's obviously endorsing Trump.
Oh, it's Taylor Not So Swift.
That's right. So, and then we have Melania. Ooh, we just got to put her in there.
Of course.
And well, there's some girls here, but I don't want to ruin your channel, but let me see if I can zoom in here in a way that doesn't show that.
Hey, there you go. No, oh wait, I'm sorry.
So there,
the Hunter Biden laptop.
Yeah, it just happens to be a laptop underneath his boot there with certain people. And now this is the funniest thing. I drew this girl, just a standard, attractive kind of female. And everyone said, but the funny thing, when I was working on it, everyone said, or I thought, I think this kind of looks like Chrissy Mayer, the comedian, And then I put it up and everyone says, is that Chrissy? It looks exactly like Chrissy. So what I did is actually went back and because her hair was a little different, darker. And I changed the hairstyle to look just like Chrissy's hairstyle. So
nice.
And Cecil went on her show the other day and said that, oh yeah, Dan was he wanted to draw you in there. So he made up a bullshit line, but it was really funny. So we have celebrities.
I love the dialogue there. I hope my body is his choice.
That was
classic.
He said that to me, and I was like, oh man, are you sure you want to put that on there? Because if this thing, right now so far it hasn't really got into any of the major circles. Like it hasn't really taken. It's just in the CG circles who are our fan base. They're not offended, but if it gets into any other circles, it's going to be really offensive.
Well, there you go, Dan. You already sold one.
Okay, cool. Now one thing that my idea was actually the actual the headline here, "Handmade in America." So I thought it was a funny twist on "Made in America."
Nice.
So Lots of fun. I had a blast, and this is John Malin's bit of art up there. The fantastic John Malin. I actually I hope he'll let me keep this because I wasn't sure. I was surprised to find out that it was his because I was just taking it from. I thought we were using this corner box in all the comics, so I just took it from the original art that from before. But it's actually. His art, so we'll see. Hopefully, I can use it. If not, I may be redoing this piece with my own version of Cecil up there, which is fine too. Either way, we'll see what he wants to do. But I like the mixture of the realistic and the graphic.
And here you go, folks. Here it is right here. I have a link down below in the description section here for Cash Grab 2. Orange is the new fat. And you can see right here, it's 95% fulfilled, folks, on here on Fund My Comic. So you get, come on,
50 grand.
You can get it over that line. For you got 37 days to get like what is it, $2,800 in 37 days. It can happen, folks. You can do it. Make it happen.
That. He'll do it
for
sure.
Cover happen.
He'll do it for sure, especially if this gets into some kind of news cycle somewhere, where it becomes controversial. People start looking at it. It'll sell because this is actually the funny thing is, no one expected this, including myself, that one of my best pieces of artwork is this ridiculous, nonsensical cover. But it was so much fun. I think I was just having a great time when the Trump work looked right. And there's actually a show. We were on John Malin's show, and I went on when this was in its rough stage, James, and everyone in the chat was throwing stuff in. So that comic book cover is created by the fans. Like their input is in that comic book. Tell me what to put where and all this sort of stuff. It's a really unusual thing. That's what's great about social media today. This has its negative side, social media, but the positive side is, man, it's so much fun. There's John Malin's cover. It's a great cover.
Yeah, and then we saw right here is the Dale Keown cover.
Dale Keown's cover. It's really the funny thing. It's really good, well done, but it's kind of repulsive too.
But I still prefer MAGA Man. I think that's my favorite, though. I think it's MAGA Man.
Yeah, a lot of people love this cover, so I think it was one of those things that it turned out really well, and it's a lot of fun. So hopefully, he sold when this came. He was at like 25 or something like that when he sold. So it's like sold 20,000 copies because of this cover, Or I mean, $20,000 worth of sales, because of this cover. So.
Well, again, I can see why, and especially in what happened, earlier this month.
Absolutely, yeah.
But hey, folks, it's not just these great campaigns you can support Dan with. There's another way you can support Dan always, and that is to head on over to his YouTube channel right here, How to Draw Comic Books by Dan Lawless. And you can see right here, he's got all kinds of great videos showing. Here he is doing a series on fixing the Concord characters from the horrible woke video game, fixing them. And then here he shows you how to draw, coloring, how to draw the female face, how to draw Wolverine, Yeah,
I got so many tutorials, and I cover so many subjects.
And here's a great story. The McFarlane Spider-Man redraw right there. Right. So I mean, there it is, and drawing the Marvels. Not really. I love that. How to draw the female head. I mean, this is just a great resource for anybody who wants to be an artist. If you want to learn how to do some good art and make some good stuff, follow Dan's channel. This is
what I wanted to do.
Comics by Dan Lawless is the name of the channel.
Yeah, James, when I came into CG, this is what I wanted to do is bring something to the table. See, I asked myself, what do I have to offer? And I knew what I had to offer is my 37 years as a professional artist, my experience and stuff like that. And so this is if you go to the not these Concord ones especially, but there's a lot of just how to do perspective, how to draw a female figure, how to draw hands. I have really solid tutorials on this site that you can, truly it's an art course. It really is, and it's all there for free. And I really wanted, because when I was an artist, art schools, every artist is poor. So I could put this on Skillshare or something like that and charge for it. I remember being an artist. I know what it felt like to have no money, and I wanted to give them a real art course that they could teach all the basics and solid, give them a solid foundation. And so this is what this is all about. And I'm having fun doing it. And it's really cool. I mean, this is, I love teaching. I don't know what it is about it. I really enjoy it. And the people, the reviews I get are all really positive. People are really saying this. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty. I think I'm pretty good at teaching.
You even cover a lot of things like some guys wouldn't, like here, like how to create 3D modeling with the cap shield, how to do custom buildings, just stuff to like when people think about drawing comics, think about how to draw the character, but they don't think about like the background stuff and other items and stuff. They don't think about how to do any of that or the color work, figuring out the perspective. I mean, all great stuff like this. This is really truly a great,
it's a great resource. Yeah.
A great resource for anyone who wants to be an artist, because you're not just getting to learn how to draw the character, you're learning how to draw the whole image.
Yes, exactly. Cover all the perspective. A lot of people, there's a lot of videos out there about perspective, but they don't know how to teach it. They don't really give you they don't teach you how to do a full understanding of that. I tried to, break through. I gave you a lot of examples, real life examples, art examples, and show you how, like, I have this trick of I made a square in a piece of cardboard, and I walked around. So you start to get a sense of way perspective works in a picture.
Yeah.
And that's, and understanding the depth, and you actually get a feel for, just like you get a feel for how to draw a figure, you get a feel for how to draw perspective too. So it's a lot of, there's a lot of that going on where I'm covering these subject matters and teaching things in a way that nobody is teaching anywhere, so it's a lot of fun. So,
well, and Leg Kick here says your channel is fantastic, and he shares it with his friends' kids so they can learn how to draw.
No, appreciate that, man. I really, that's so. I'm really hoping that people will pass it around and take advantage of it for sure.
So there you go, folks. Go and join up on Dan's channel there. He's almost to 2,000 subscribers. He's way ahead of me. So he's doing.
Well, I draw. That's the thing is He's
doing a lot. He's doing a lot better at it than I do. So he's got that going for him.
I'll tell you what, though, these things are like that video, how to draw hands. I drew all the hands in that video, and it took me 2 weeks to do that. And so it was a lot of actual labor, work, drawings and hours making that video. So it's tough because I don't have quantity, I have quality, and YouTube doesn't reward that. So it's tough to get my stuff, to be seen and to go viral. It's like because it's just not. It's not. It doesn't. The algorithm isn't picking it up. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that, but.
Hey, if you figure it out, tell me, because I don't know how it works either.
Yeah, well, I've seen guys like that Concord stuff. That was an attempt to try. Those are 10-minute videos, and to see if that would kind of work for me. It didn't do too much, though. But
look what you were working with though, with the Concord characters.
Yeah, so, but I'm saying some guys have had success. That was like one of those things that was going around for a while. People were doing redesigning the Concord characters, and they got big, lots of views and stuff. It didn't work for me, but I keep trying these things, and as long as it's interesting, as long as I can make it something that's actually information, like when I redo those Concord videos, our characters, I really do show people, give them insights on how to design a character and what's wrong with this character, what makes them heroic. So it is useful information. I still want to do everything I'm going to do is going to be useful information, but it's that trying to make it get some clicks too,
Yeah, that's always the trick.
Yes.
But there it is, folks. How to Draw Comics by Dan Lawless. Go over there and subscribe to his channel so you too can become a great comic book artist, learning from a guy who can show you how it's done. And also be sure to back Cash Grab too. Go for the Maga Man cover, folks. You definitely want to get the Maga Man cover. And also Fembat. So we gotta get that up over 10 grand to get that awesome Adam Hughes inspired Dan Lawless trading card. So get on it, folks. Christmas is coming up. Spend some of that money.
Yeah. You can they should almost do that, because they got these these things take a long time to come out. Sometimes they should like give you like a gift certificate, like you could get at a holiday. Like you have been given this sort of crowdfunding comic that's going to be coming in certain amount of time or something like that. It's not a bad idea. So you could actually be a gift idea for somebody who wants a Trump collectible or something like that. Maybe give him a card,
Well, there was enough votes for him. There should be some people out there who'd want to own one.
Oh yeah. Well, I do feel like if this gets in the correct circles, it's going to go ballistic. I think people are going to really want to buy it, because it is a pretty cool image. It's a lot of fun, and it's trolling and it's fun. It's goofy stuff. So
that's always the best stuff.
Yeah. It's the internet. What are you going to do?
Well, I know you got to get ready to go, Dan. But do you think you can do one more commercial with me before you go?
Sure, let's go for it, man.
All right, now this one this is the one that out of all the ones I found. This was the one that I saw. I'm like, I don't know why they didn't use this. I don't know why it was banned. This is an awesome commercial for Mercedes-Benz of all things. So let's get that shared up here, and we'll play it.
What if your husband comes back tonight?
Not in this weather.
Sure?
Not in this weather. Isn't your wife expecting you?
Oh my gosh.
I love that. It's like a Twilight Zone episode with the twist in the end.
Exactly. Like any of those things. Oh, what a clever ad. Very funny. Yeah, but I can see why I didn't go. But
And yet it was banned, and I don't know why. That's a great commercial. That's almost makes you want to buy a Mercedes-Benz.
yeah. I don't think that marriage is gonna last, James. I think that one's kind of on the rocks. That one's done.
That's right. Oh God, that was a good one. So, but there it is. So there we go, folks. We saw some band commercials. We saw some great comic art. We saw some video game arcade games that were some of my favorites. Some great stuff by Dan Lawless. Some great artwork coming up from him. So I thank you all for joining me tonight. And we had it going for an hour and a half. I'm surprised I went that long.
Yeah, it was fun, man. If what do they say, that when things are fun, then time flies. So
yeah, I guess so. That's what
I can't even get the stupid phrase out. Time flies when you're having fun.
But I want to thank my guests here, Dan Lawless, of course, and also want to thank my good friend Pops, who was here earlier. And I don't have a link down below. I'll probably throw in a link later tonight. But head over here, just go into the YouTube search bar, type in Pops, and go over to his channel. Pops got a lot of great pop culture stuff, movies and comics and television, all kinds of great stuff there. Again, Dan Lawless's channel, How to Draw Comics by Dan Lawless, where you get the great tutorials showing you how to be an awesome comic artist. And of course, again, back Cash Grab 2 with the Maga Man cover. It's linked down there below, so you can go and do that and help Dan out.
Look at Legkick's comment. The new Jaguar movie or commercial. It's so
yes, it does. It does.
So
it absolutely does.
Oh my God! So that should
for no other reason, you actually had the car in the commercial at least. So there you go.
That should be banned.
Exactly.
Community
you banned
standard.
the wrong one, guys.
It's such bad art.
But I thank you guys all for joining me today. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. As for me, I have some
lots
stuff.
of turkey.
Yes, I'll have some more stuff coming for you. I have a video I have primed up for tomorrow for you guys, and on a Friday another one, and then after that, we'll see what comes. But I thank you guys for joining me for this celebration here. 300 subscribers. I never thought I'd make it, but I guess I did, and onward and upward to 400, I guess now. So that's the next stage. So again, I thank my guests. I thank all of you who joined me here, either today as it's live, or if you're watching it in reruns. And to all you, have a happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Stay fed, and just have a great day. And I will be back soon with some more stuff. And until next time, take care.